Molly Music calls his big break his guest performance on American Idol. In March, he was tapped to sing his hit song, Beautiful. The reaction, launching him into stardom.
J-Lo was like, Molly Music, and the ding dun 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 dun. I knew that. I'm like, uh-oh, it's over for me.
Let me say, yeah, 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 yeah.
Molly was born and raised here in Savannah by the name Courtney Pollard. He went to school at BC and started learning gospel music at nearby churches as young as 9.
Can I play keyboard? He was like, you want to play keyboard? I said, yes, please let me play. And I was playing chords like this, so I had no skill, but I definitely had a heart and a tenacity.
Everything he's saying, everything he's doing is still promoting the kingdom, that the gift that God has placed in him. It's awesome. And as his pastor, I'm godly proud of everything that he's doing.
Molly made his big debut right here at WSAV in 2005. He was 16. He performed gospel music with his sister Keisha right here on our morning show, Coastal Sunrise. Molly moved to California and switched from gospel to hip-hop and R&B, but he says he's staying true to his roots.
And whether it represents God or whoever else, it's just good music that makes people feel good.
Now Molly's making it big, appearing on national talk shows, including Arsenio Hall and Queen Latifah, singing his hit song Beautiful for all of them.
It's a blessing to see people with their heads up to the sky still.
And he sang it for us, a cappella.
So I put my lighter in the air for you. I see what you're doing, yeah, I see what you go through. Put my lighter in the air, the truth is you're beautiful, beautiful. Now let me hear say, yeah, 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 yeah.
They say the world is your oyster. And once upon a time, that was true in Georgia.
Back in the early 1900s, Georgia was one of the second or third largest producers of oysters commercially in the world.
Michael Denmark is the executive director of Georgia's chapter of the Coastal Conservation Association. They're building new oyster reefs like these after Georgia's oyster population suffered from overharvesting, environmental problems, and disease.
Unfortunately, over time, partly due to man's misunderstanding and lack of understanding with conservation efforts, the oystering as a commercial entity in Georgia fell by the wayside.
The CCA is building new oyster reefs with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. And it starts here. Twice a year, teams collect shells at 3 sites: the President Street Boat Ramp, Montgomery Crossroad at the base of the Truman Parkway, and the Sterling Creek Oyster Ramp in Richmond Hill. In March, they bagged the shells and trucked them to the Oakland Island Wildlife Center. In May, teams built the new oyster reef, seen in these pictures. They laid down a bed of discarded shells near other naturally formed reefs.
In the springtime, what happens is the oysters mate, and the larvae that are formed from the mating of the oysters are free-floating in the river and are subject to the tides and winds.
An oyster shell is actually an ideal habitat for growing new oysters. You see, the shell itself is very rough and porous, so that larvae flowing downstream from other oysters can latch on. We'll give it 3 or 4 years to mature, and then you have an oyster that's ready to eat. Briny. It's the distinctive flavor that makes Georgia oysters so special. Fresh and briny, slightly sweet, definitely salty. At the CCA, the motto is, any of the R months are game for an oyster roast, the fall and winter months.
And we ask that after the oyster roast, when you're asking yourselves, what do we do with these discarded shells? Bring them over to one of our oyster collection centers, because we can use them to help build more reefs.
Williams says it's not sexual, but a celebration of nature. Still, others say that it's vulgar, and they don't want their kids subjected to that at all.
I mean, you know, it's a natural thing to be nude. I mean, you come out nude.
There's too many kids that come out here. Like, we got to keep this family oriented.
They could have it blocked off so, like, children could be away from the topless people.
I think they shouldn't do it.
I hope that doesn't happen.
It seems everybody has something to say about nudity on Tybee Beach. An online petition to strip the law so folks can lay out in the buff.
This is about as close to nude as you're ever going to see me on this beach, largely because nobody's interested in seeing any more of my mangy old carcass.
Councilman Paul Wolf says City Hall calls the petition, quote, comedic relief.
Mainly because we tend to market ourselves as a family-oriented destination. I think that from a PR standpoint, we would have more to lose by having a nude beach on Tybee than we would have to gain.
The petition is on the website change.org, and the author, Sean Williams, is asking for 500 signatures. If you look up here in the top right corner, he's awfully close to getting it. The petition points out on European beaches, some nudity is the norm.
I actually just got back from a trip to Europe, and I've been to some nude beaches, so I don't see why not.
I said, what they do over there, let's keep it over there.
I don't see why it should be different than Europe here in Tybee Island.
This is not Europe.
Councilman Wolf says if there were an official clothing optional beach, it would likely be on the north side of the island. And so if that beach were to be open, would you be over there to check it out?
I'd be there. Oh yeah, I'd be there.
Basically, if that beach was open now, you'd want to check it out.
Oh, of course. Why not?
Hi, family.
Well, the votes the petition receives don't have any real power. Just reaching 500 doesn't force Tybee leaders to do anything. And they tell me they won't. Greg Gullberg, News 3.